Hey, hey, beat baseball world! Welcome back to another exciting episode of the Beatball Blues Show with Neil Dog and Bam Bam. What's happening, Seth Dog?
Oh, chilling, me. Out here surviving, Neil Dog. What else can I do? What else can I do? What else
Fair
can
enough.
I do? You'll be one of the only people that get this, but this is my wake up day, man. This is my wake up day. 17 years ago today, man. I woke up, man.
Oh, you know what?
Yeah,
At first, I
yeah.
didn't get it. But yeah, that was 17 years ago. We've talked
uh,
about on the show when you
uh,
died, came back to
uh,
life.
oh,
We're
yeah,
in a
yeah,
coma for 3 days. I always
yeah,
get that part wrong. Three
yeah.
days.
Yep,
Uh,
yep.
uh,
I'm not a religious individual, but 3 days.
you're
It's
not a
like,
religious individual, but I lived through that with you and your family, and you became religious for a while there.
man, it's like,
I
man,
remember.
I should start. What was it? I should start, start praying to somebody, man. I can't remember when I started to
Actually, you
talk
did
about that.
start. You should have kept praying to somebody.
I never
You should
prayed. I
keep.
never prayed to
No,
anybody.
one thing I remember though that was shocking. Well, not shocking after what you went through, but like the day you came out of the coma, I went to the hospital with Christina for a while, and I remember like being in the room. It's just Christina, your mom and dad, you and me, and nurses coming and going constantly. And I remember Christina like going, turning to you, like she's like, "Do you want to pray?" You're like, "Yes," and I'm like, "Who was that? Somebody different came back to us."
Well, I remember at that point, I didn't want to go back to sleep. I was like, hey, wait a
Yeah,
minute. I don't want to go back to sleep, man.
that's
I don't like this idea, man. I'm good. Give me some
uh,
coffee or give me something.
go juice.
Yeah, right. I don't want to go back to sleep, man. It's a
That's
scary thought,
understandable.
man.
As, as often as you get on my nerves, that was a very scary time for people that care about you. And I'm still glad you came back to us.
Yes,
I'll
yes,
go on the record. I'm still
yes,
glad you came back.
yes, yes. I always say that, and Landry and Delaney are happier
Oh
than
yeah, right.
anybody
They
else.
came after that.
Well,
Yeah,
well,
yeah. Could
well,
have just
well,
been Trajan.
the only child, man.
Wow. Well, all
Uh,
right. I'm glad to have
uh,
you here with us, Bam Bam.
oh man, glad to be here, Neil Dog. Great, big
You wouldn't have had
welcome, big welcome.
you wouldn't have had your little second career with the Value City Heat either. At
Nope,
all
nope.
those years with the Heat came after that also.
Yeah, yeah. You got it. You got it. Changed everything, Neil Dog. When I have my doctorate, when I have nothing. Just
All right.
whatever.
Well, to show you how good I am at this transition thing, we're going to speak about a team that died and came back to life.
Oh, church, they're church, man, they church.
we we are featuring the New Jersey Titans, who
I know.
weren't able to make it to the World Series, even though they did participate in the Beast of the East tournament, and they were active in 2022. They weren't able to make it to the Baseball World Series. They are making their return in 2023. We got a couple of their leaders here with us, Zach Turner and Lamont Bordley. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thanks, Neil
Thank you for
Dogs.
having.
Thanks, Seth. Looking
Oh,
forward to it.
good. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So why
Thank you
didn't
for
you
having
guys
me.
come to the World Series last year, man? Very disappointed. I'm just joking.
I'll be accountable there. Me and my wife, we had our first son, and he was born on
uh,
July 10th, so we weren't making the trip out.
makes sense. Makes sense. Very much
Although
so.
I'm not going to name any, but there are many players that have still made it to the World Series, no matter how close their children were born to the World Series. And I'm not saying you should have. I'm just saying
I know.
we know of players that have just jumped right in. And honestly, I can remember Seth and I being kind of judgmental. It's like, man, your lady's in the hospital right now. I think you should be there.
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
We,
Yeah,
we
no.
did have a few players that joined other teams, which is cool for last year, though.
Lamont, man, I'm excited to get you. I'm excited to have both of you on, but you originally the first show we did featuring the Titans, you were the one that helped me set all that up, but you weren't able to do it that night, and wanted to get you back on the show. So it's good to have you here, man.
I appreciate it. I'm a big fan of the show, and I watch it all the time.
I appreciate that. Appreciate that very much. So let's jump in. Which one of you has been a Titan the longest? I'm thinking Lamont, but I don't know that that's correct.
Gives me, I think I started in 2014. Originally a Lightning, New Jersey Lightning.
Okay. Play with my
Uh-huh.
dude. I'm a big fan of Sherlock. So you're playing with Sherlock on the Lightning, right?
Yep, he's the one that introduced me to the game.
Oh, cool. So let's jump in with that. We're gonna get both your backgrounds, but we'll start with you, Lamont. Man, what's your background like all around? Like, have you been blind your whole life? When did you get into sports? Did you play other sports? Give us all that stuff.
So to start, I lost my vision in 2012 to a bad accident where I suffered a gunshot and went through both eyes. It was a robbery. But before I lost my vision at 21. So before then, in high school, I ran track, played basketball. Going fast forward back up to when I lost my vision, 2012, I was introduced to a school called Joseph Cone Training Center, which is a rehabilitation center to help you learn how to do everything blind. And that's when I bumped into Sherlock. And he, again, watching the show, everybody has a similar story. He brought up beat baseball, but it just didn't make sense. I'm like, how are blind guys gonna play beat baseball? So I got his information, but I brushed it off. And then one of his teammates came the next day, and everybody in the school came to hear him speak. And he just had a big thing about him. His name is Steve Rutch, and he actually really got me in as well. So I think that spring I went out to the first practice, connected on the first pitch, and I fell in love from there.
Are you a hitter or a defender, or are you both? Are you a two-way star?
I would say both. Both. But I like defense more though.
You do like defense more?
I feel like defense is more challenging.
Yeah, it does. It does have, it does ask more of you than necessarily just getting your swing in the same spot at the same time every time. So I feel that.
Especially switching between different levels, like from short, mid to deep, is a difference of getting down earlier or tracking a little. It's definitely a difference. Something like with hitting, it's crazy. Me and Zach talk about it. Once you have that timing down with you and your pitcher, it's so like when you do strike out, it ain't your fault. It's the pitcher's fault. But defense is challenging.
I know some pitchers that would disagree with you.
There was a documentary.
Yeah, right.
There was a documentary on beat baseball made back in 1995, and I think that it was J.T. Herzog from Chicago that was talking at the time. He was a new coach for Chicago at that time. If I remember, I'm not positive it was JT, but I think it was, and it was like it is early years of coaching. And there's a great clip from him talking to his team in the documentary. He's like, excuse me, I understand sometimes that the fault's gonna fall on the batter when things don't work, but I'm gonna blame it on the pitcher. It's like, all right. I remember when we watched that documentary as a team, and we were just rolling it. Thought that was
I
funny.
always thought it was the other way around, though. That's
Did
funny.
he blame it on the hitter? I
I
thought he
thought he's
blamed
like,
it on
man,
the
it might
pitcher.
be the pitcher's fault, but I'm going to count it against the batter.
All
I
right.
thought he was telling people, man, I'm going to pull you if you start striking out and stuff like that. I can't pull the pitcher, but I can pull you. So, that's kind of how I took it. But man, you know,
I know it's
was
almost 30 years
yeah,
ago,
right.
man.
That's long ass time ago, man. So.
Nobody would know I had it wrong if you didn't question me. Nobody even
Ah,
sees
you
that
know.
documentary anymore. Uh,
Uh,
but the other thing, like you were saying, like just I don't know, like on defense, even though you have a spotter, it's so much more of it is on you as a player. You know what I mean? That you're really you have to do your job as a hitter to put your bat in the same place and get your timing right. I realize it's a team thing, but on defense, outside of a spot, you know you're pretty much on your own. So that's what I always liked about defense is you know you I don't know, you feel like you're contributing more. Um, when you talked about playing at all different levels, do you have a preference? Where do you mostly play, and what's your preference? What do you like to do?
Well, I can play anywhere. So if you notice with the Titans, we always have moving pieces. So I kind of just move around to where the coach want me. But again, if I had to pick, it would be mid on the hot side. And then I also play very well short on the weak side as well.
All right. Very cool. Have you done any other blind sports outside of beat baseball?
No, I tried goal ball. I gave it like a couple tournaments, but it just wasn't for me. It just didn't make sense diving on a basketball court for me. It just wasn't for me.
you could handle the pounding.
I could not handle the pound. No shame in the game. I could not handle the pound.
I hear that, bro. I hear that.
When you played basketball, what'd you do? What was your position?
Again, it always goes by when I was shorter, point guard, the taller I got, more power forward, small forward. Yeah.
I lost my eyesight at I was nearly 11 years old. So I had played organized basketball a little bit, but I wasn't any good. So I that's all to say. I didn't really experience like growing up in basketball, but that does seem to be the case. Like, you know what I mean? Sometimes you jump in and you're young and so by default you're the shortest, so you end up playing guard, but as you grow up, you got to play different positions. Sounds like that was your experience.
Yes, sir.
Very cool. Well, we're gonna be bouncing back and forth. Let's bring you up, Zach, and get your background. If I remember right, when we had your teammates on the show the first time, the Titans, back in like fall of 2020, I think it was. I believe one of your teammates told us that you played some college football. Is that correct? Am I remembering that right?
Yeah, so that is correct. So to kind of share my story, I had full eyesight growing up until I lost my eyesight to Liebers, LHON, hashtag Team Liebers. I know there's a few out there in beat ball, but I lost my eyesight when I was 26. So I played sports growing up in high school, baseball, football, basketball, and then got the opportunity to play football D1 AA school, small school here in the Northeast. It's in Connecticut, Sacred Heart University. I played safety for Sacred Heart. So yeah, I got to play college football. So sports has always been a big part of my life. I think so. Once I lost my eyesight, we went to the doctor and they told me, you know, I was going to lose all my central vision in the course of like the next 3 to 6 months. I think we went home, and before we looked up treatments or clinical trials, I think my wife went straight to adaptive sports. That was the priority, right? So she found goal ball similar to Lamont. I tried it. That's where I met Alfonso, who's on the Titans as well.
Mhm.
And he kind of made the intro to me. He set me up to talk to Marvin, who's on the Titans at the time. And he's like, hey, man, I think you'd really like beat baseball. Why don't you give it a shot? And kind of fell in love, similar to Lamont from that first practice. So I got started with beat baseball in 2018 was my first year, Eau Claire, Wisconsin, that World Series. Yeah.
What when you were assuming you played high school football, did you play other positions other than safety?
Yep. So I actually played more wide receiver in high school and played some safety as well in high school. And then I went to a powerhouse high school here in New Jersey called Bergen Catholic. They now travel pretty much all across the country for football, but you know, that's where I got to like a lot of my competitive nature, a lot of exposure to sports, and then so yeah, played a lot of wide receiver, some safety in high school, and then went to Sacred Heart where I played safety up there.
Were you better at cover or sticking?
Probably sticking. Yeah, definitely sticking. One-on-one coverage wasn't my favorite thing. When we were in cover 0, I was not a fan of that. But no, I love coming down in the box and you know, attacking the run, but also, you know, getting in zone coverage, stuff like that. So football's my love. I think that's what brought me to love beat baseball. As soon as I hit the ball and I ran, I was like, oh my God, this is like a tackling drill for me trying to find the base. This is perfect.
That's what when I've tried, you know, when I've been out public speaking about beat baseball, when I talk about the bases, that's what I've always described them as, is like big tackling dummies that we just run and slam into.
Yeah, it's so funny. My first year, I think after a few practices, either my wife or Allison or Lamont, someone, they're like, you know, you don't have to tackle the base in order for you to score a run, right? I was like, nobody ever told me that.
It's always
So-
the best
Yeah.
policy, else you might miss it. Yeah.
Yeah.
We used to tell him his first World Series, but Zach, you want to save your body, man. You want to keep hitting the ground all the time. Our last game, his first year, he came up to us and was like, fellas, you was right. Yeah.
So coming back into beat baseball, you're one of the league's top hitters, I believe. You were an all-star in 2021. Where are you at defensively?
Yeah, so I think like Tulsa, I started to kind of hit the ground running, no pun intended, with defense and started to pick it up, get more like field awareness. And then last year in the Indy Beat Ball Bonanza, made the all defensive team. You know, like Lamont was saying, what's good about the Titans is during practice, we're playing in all different positions, short, mid, deep, you know, getting comfortable, you know, playing in all different roles. But yeah, I really enjoy defense, similar to Lamont. I think it's more challenging, and I love that aspect of this sport. I think it's more rewarding when you make a put out, right, and save that run. But I love playing in the mid. I'll play in the short. I'm gonna play some deep left this year too. So yeah, I love defense, but yeah, obviously I think you know, my skills are on the offensive side more so. Yeah.
You see, if they implement my rule of getting rid of the cadence on from the pitcher, I think offense would become more challenging. Or you could just have to swing on the sound of the ball moving. I think that would put a whole new aspect and challenge to offense. But I'm
It would be
retired. I'm
challenging.
old.
Even though I am always for, like, I'd be more in favor of eliminating spotters than I would the cadence of the pitcher. Like, hand-to-ear coordination is nowhere near as accurate as hand-eye coordination. Swinging at the sound, I think, would dumb our game down.
Well, you weren't
honestly.
swinging at the sound. You just need to. I mean, you're still swinging in the same spot. The pitcher still has to hit the bat. It's just the pitcher doesn't tell you when to start your swing. You have to start your swing based on that
Hearing
sound
it,
of the
yeah.
ball. Yeah. So, It would just make it more
Yeah.
challenging. It would make the batter have to do a little bit more than just listen and swing in the same spot every single time. But that's all.
That's fair. Since you guys are players that are still in the game, what are your thoughts on that?
I don't like that at all. No, I'm just
That's even hard, man.
See, everybody's like, "Oh man, I like defense because defense is hard, man." But I give you guys something that's hard, and nobody wants it, man. Nobody's like, "Oh no, I still want to be spoon fed, man."
But since we're blindfolded, I feel like the cadence is to assist us. So I'm trying to see the sense of it because since we can't see, the cadence kind of helps us. So you telling us you want us to listen to the ball. So you got to think about those days when it's windy. It's going to be super challenging.
That's the point, man. That's the point. You guys want to cut down them scores, man. I mean, but you can always, the pitchers wind up, so you can actually hear the ball move in the pitcher's hand or whatever. So, I mean, it's just, it was just a thought. To make offense more challenging, you got to figure out a way, cut down the scores, make offense more challenging, put more onus on the batter as opposed to the pitcher, just stuff like that. But again, that's just a tangent. I was an old man. I'm done. So I'm just throwing out ideas, but.
So with you guys returning, with the New Jersey Titans returning to the World Series, I know that, quite a few of the players you guys have had in the last few years were playing on different rosters. Tell us about the roster coming back with the Titans. I actually haven't checked it out myself, but I heard that you guys have put up some videos from the batting cages, and our man Marvin Morgan was out there raking the ball. So, Marvin, are you guys just letting the man practice with you, or is Marvin making a return to the Titans?
The big fella's back, man. Big fella's back in Jersey.
Nice. So tell us more, Lamont. Tell us about the roster you guys have coming back this year.
So you have myself, Zach, Marvin, Fonzo's coming back.
Nice.
Randy's coming. We have our young phenom, Damien. We have John Cruz from Long Island. He's coming to play with us.
Oh wow, he's switching up and coming on board with you guys.
Oh no, I'm sorry. He lives in Long Island. He started with us. The first team he played was New Jersey last year.
Okay.
And we treated him so well last year. He decided just to stay with us. Am I missing? And then our out of towners, John Patterson and Wally Salahuddin. And then my man, Rich gonna kill me. Rich Coppagen. Am I missing anybody, Zach?
No, I think that's everything. And then we have the one female on our team, Sam. Yeah.
I mean, I like that you guys are getting those players back. Obviously, to go to the World Series, you gotta have you gotta have a roster. You gotta fill out a roster to get through a 5-day tournament. But I like the names too. Randy George, I think, is a really good defensive player. Obviously, Marvin's a great hitter. Tell us a little bit about this John Cruz dude, because I know he had a solid rookie year, but the people on the East Coast are really high on this guy's future.
Yeah. So I actually got connected through John Cruz. He has the same eye condition I have. Lieber's got connected. I live in Brooklyn now, and so we spoke, and I was like, he was young. I think he's 25. He played sports, wrestling and football in high school. And I was like, hey, man, I think we connected pretty well. And I want you to come check out this sport. And, similar to almost everyone that plays the sport, he fell in love with the first practice and he wanted to keep going. And, he was grateful to play at the World Series last year with Long Island Bombers. And he's doing really well, picking up the sport well. He's got a big bat. And I think he's going to do a lot this year.
Is he a big dude? Because that's what
I
I
think
mostly heard about.
Yeah,
He's
defensive end or linebacker for footballs, to put it in perspective, his size. So he's a strong guy. Yeah.
Nice. And what about Damian Gonzalez? How's he coming along? How's he growing in his game?
He's become, again, Damien started with Zach 8. Was he 8?
Yeah, 8 years old, you mean?
Yeah, 8
Yeah,
years
when he
old, right?
Yeah.
started.
Yeah, when he started, he was
So
8 years old, and we both started the same year. Go ahead, Lamont.
now he's 14. I feel like he got his man body already. All he talk about is how much he squats, how much he's benching. He's a beast. He's silent. We gotta get him to talk more. But he's a kid. He's 14, playing in the Devils game. But his back is improving. His confidence on defense is improving, and he's growing in the game. He's gonna get his time this year. So that's the beauty. He's gonna get the live reps.
It's good to hear that his bat's improving, because I think that's the hardest thing for like youth in the sport of beat ball. With our ball weighing 1 pound, it's tough for full grown people to give that ball a good thump. So when you're a teenager, you're not fully developed yet. It's more I think that makes it hard for young people to play beat baseball, because the ball's so heavy and it's hard to hit it well. So it's good to hear that he is developing already, because that would be the most difficult part. I really, because we had Nestor on the show last fall, and I like really dig that story all the way around. Just how his family, Damien's family, keeps him in the game, and they've gotten involved in the game. You know what I mean? Just keeping him active. I don't know. I love seeing it. I wish all our young blind athletes, had parents that were working as hard as Damien's parents are to get them in, get their kids involved in sports of some sort.
Yeah, I mean, just shout out there to Nestor. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. He's one of the hardest working, probably. I mean, I may be biased, but best coaches in the league. His dedication and the amount of time he puts in, I think it makes us all want to just show up more and put in that time too. So it's kind of contagious what he does throughout the roster. Yeah, and I mean, you spoke a little bit about it. Shout out, family. I've been blessed where my wife, she probably loves the sport and being around the team more than I do at times, and she's my biggest supporter, but also biggest critic. She'll let me know when I'm running slow down the baseline, but she's our team treasurer, and she puts in a lot of time for the grant stuff, and my dad this year being a pitcher, so it's really cool to have that family camaraderie.
Now, you said your dad's the pitcher. Has he ever pitched before, or
So he
how
got
did
some
that pop up?
yeah, so he got some exposure. Well, once Greg left, Nestor jumped in, and he did a good job filling the gap. But we were looking for, Nestor does a lot in terms of spotting, coaching, catching. So last year, obviously we didn't go to the World Series, but my dad got some exposure pitching. He pitched one of the legs, the Long Island leg of the Beast of the East, and he came out to Indy and split some time with Nestor, got some reps there. And this year we've been pretty consistent with being in the cages since December, like a few times a month. And I'm excited to see him out there on the field this year, because I know he's putting in a lot of time and effort, and we kind of see it in the cages with how consistent we've all been.
I
Hold on.
I-
How does
yeah.
that? It'd be interesting to have your father pitch to you, because father sons have their own relationship and stuff like that. Is that difficult? Does he ride you at all, or do you feel like extra pressure or anything like that, or
Yeah.
how does that work?
Great question. I love having him out there, to be honest. Like I said, I was talking to someone growing up. He used to be my pitcher in Little League, and just playing baseball growing up. He would always try and strike me out, and he kind of brought that competitive nature to me growing up with sports. And I always loved having at my games. And I was like begging him, hey, come out, try it out, try pitching. And he finally did. And I know the guys love hitting off him, and he just loves being out there. He's just as competitive as we all are. And I'm so happy to have him out there this year, and I think he's going to do big things. Yeah.
And just to give him credit as well, last year he did both duties where he was pitching and spotting. So with us having a lack of volunteers and had to kind of restart last year, big ups to Steve, Nuss, again, Alice, and everyone doing a lot of double duty things. And we just appreciate our volunteers, because, again, without them, this sport's not possible.
Yeah, that's I mean, it's a similar story to what made me become a big fan of Nestor is that his willingness to do whatever the team needed to make sure you guys could get it through a tournament. And also again on Nestor, not to fill his head full of too much credit, but beyond your team, he's jumping in and trying to do what he can for the league also. It's impressive how much he has jumped into the sport, and you need volunteers like that are willing to just pop out. And I mean, you know what I mean. You can't have a beat ball team without the sighted help to come along and fill in those spots. So it's good that you guys are getting that. When I get, are you guys going to any tournaments outside of the Beast of the East?
Yeah, so we're just local this year. We're just doing both legs of the Beast of the East, and we'll probably have a couple scrimmages. We're trying to set something up with the Philly Fire as well as the Long Island Bombers.
Where are the two? For those that don't know, there's always two legs of the Beast of the East, and the host changes around. Who are the two hosts this year for the Beast of the East?
It's
I believe the first,
Philadelphia and then Boston. So it's going to be July 1st in Philadelphia and then July 15th up in Boston. So looking forward to those. I know it's always great competition, and should be even better this year. I think there's an extra team involved this year, the second Boston team. So it'll be good to see them
Boston
too.
Strong.
I was wondering, I was actually just going to ask that all the way around if there's just going to be the four. So the five teams then, both Boston teams, New Jersey, Long Island, and Philadelphia?
Yep.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like Lamont said, we're going to get some scrimmages going with Philadelphia. We're doing kind of an expedition in Central Park in Manhattan this year with the Long Island Bombers in May. So yeah, it should be a fun season.
Awesome. You guys got anything else as far as the team goes that you want to throw out there for anybody, for everybody?
Anything on
Well,
your Lamont? I think one other thing, I mean, we talked about our pitchers, catchers, volunteers. We have, Erin coming back spotting, Jessica Nunziata, who's my sister-in-law, she's coming out to spot. So, we're pretty stacked in terms of volunteers this year, which is super helpful. But I mean, just shout out our team. We've been in the cages. We went outside last week for the first time. Weather was nice, and just putting in those reps. It kind of reminds me of us a few years ago before Tulsa or Wichita, where we were putting in the time and we kind of saw it translate. I think my first year in Eau Claire, we came in 13th, and then we finished 5th place and then 5th place. So I know we're all excited about this year.
what are you guys thinking? I mean, what would be a successful finish for you guys or whatever? What are you looking at? I mean, we're
Lamont,
all,
you
hey,
go
I want to win.
You got in 2021, you finished 5th place, right?
Yeah, in 21 and 20.
2020.
So where are you looking at to finishing this year, Lamont?
Again, no worse. Our goal is to finish where we was last top 5. So that's the goal, top 5. Pick up where we left off.
All right.
What about you, Zach? Top 5,
Yeah, man.
or you got a little higher, goals, man? You trying to be on there on Saturday, or are we good? Are we good on Friday?
I talk to Lamont all the time. My goal is to be there on Saturday. I want to play for that 1-2 spot. But I think this year, with everyone coming back and we're getting in a rhythm, I think top 5 for sure. I know there's a lot of good competition, a lot of good teams out there, especially in the top 10. I think teams maybe 2 through 10, they're all pretty solid. We'll see what the Edge does this year in terms of their roster, right? But maybe 3 through 10. I know the Jets are always pretty solid, but all these teams are competitive, and that's why I love going out there. But I think top 5, that's our goal. and we'll see where we end up out in Norman, Oklahoma.
Well, shift gears up on you guys a little bit. Lamont, at the beginning of this year, Seth and I had a friend of ours, Renazee, on the show who lets us use some of his music, and he would talked a lot about his daughter who's in third grade, because she's been putting some songs out there, doing some rapping. Man, I saw a live video with you and someone I thought was your son that doing a little bit of rapping. Was that your son?
I mean, now I'm so happy he's not in here because you would gas this kid's head up so much. But yeah, that's my 6-year-old Shane, Sugar Shane. He's a character. His personality is 1 in 1. I love that boy, but he does a little bit of everything. A little bit. He's not a rapper. He just does a little bit of everything, and I love him.
So you guys were just having fun or whatever. It's not. He doesn't have any tracks out yet.
No tracks.
All right.
He is ABC 1, 2, 3.
You tell him that I enjoyed checking him out. I thought you were a little hard on him though. I thought you take that like Seth Dog approach to fatherhood. You're like, that's all you got? I'm recording here live. You're not giving him more than that.
The reason is because when the camera's off, he's a whole different guy. But when the camera's on, you want to get all shy.
I enjoyed it, man. That was fun. And Zach, man, you're a first-time father. You had a baby last summer, man. What's fatherhood been like for you?
Oh, it's been a blast. I'm so so pumped to get him out there on the field with us too. But yeah, my little guy Bryce Turner, he's 8 months old right now. He was born July 10th, so right in the middle of the beep ball season. We didn't plan it like that, but nah, it's been great. Sleep's been good now. If you asked me a few months ago, I would have said, oh, man, what we get ourselves into? But no, it's been great. Allison's been a unreal mother, and I just love every second of it. Yeah.
We had a lot of that in the beat baseball world. Like John Marges became a father for the first time. Tim, one of your former teammates, Seth Dog, Tim Sivers. Am I saying it?
Ciphers.
Ciphers, all right.
Ciphers.
Yeah, with I mean, for one, I have a terrible memory for names, but also our computers say names differently. Like
I think it is Ciphers.
When you, Zach and Lamont, were mentioning your roster, and you mentioned Rich, and I always thought his last name was Compingen because that's the way my computer says his last name, and I don't even remember how you actually said his name, but I was like, man, I got that name wrong. How do you say Capuchin? All right. Yeah, my computer, whenever I come across him, it's Compingen. So I was like, who'd they say? Oh, I think I know who they're talking about. But yeah, we had a lot of new fathers pop in with our beat baseball players last year. I think that's pretty cool.
Lamont, do you bring your young one to the tournaments?
His first one was Wichita. What was that? 2021? What was that? Wichita, Kansas. That was his first one.
2019, I think.
2019. Yeah, that was his first
2019
one.
was Tulsa.
No, 2021 when we
Yeah.
returned. It was 2021.
How did he like it?
I
know it's tough for the younger kids or whatever, but
nah, he enjoyed it. He was living a life. You get to jump in the hot tub every day, swim in the pool. He enjoyed it. He hasn't stopped talking about it yet, but it was more, he's a kid, so he's more excited about the hotel lifestyle, like the beach ball stuff he sees with practice and everything. But he's just a kid. He enjoyed jumping in that hot tub, and then Wichita was like an indoor-outdoor hot tub, so he speaks about that to this day.
He would have really loved
I always had my 2 kids, my 3 kids were always kind of different. Trajan was always into it on the bench, watching everything from 3 years old on. And the other ones, man, they're wandering around, not watching games and stuff like that. It's like, I get you. It's all different personalities, so as long as they're enjoying themselves.
he would have Lamont's your son would have really enjoyed Eau Claire. Wasn't the
Yeah.
hotel like at a water park type?
Yeah, it was
place or
like one of
something?
these theme park sort
Yeah.
of things. They had, games and zip lines and race cars, tracks and obstacle courses and all that stuff. I think my kids did it once or twice, but I never took them down. Like, yeah, we out here to win the World Series, man. We ain't got time to be playing around with that stuff.
Even though I was on the tournament committee at the time and I did the site visit for Eau Claire, the hotel that we settled on when we did the site visit, and the hotel they won the bid with ended up being sold after we gave them the bid, and the hotel had to be switched up. So that's how we ended up at the place that we ended up. So even though I did the site visit for Eau Claire, I never visited that hotel because it wasn't in the mix originally. Anyways, speaking of, we talked about football. When I did the site visit for Eau Claire, when I was flying to Wisconsin, on one of the legs, I was sitting next to an NFL official. That was kind of cool. Just whatever, talk back and forth with him about being down on the field for NFL games, being an official. Anyway, he was
That's
like, you know how it is when you're on a plane. It's like, what are you doing? And he was asking where I was going, so I asked him. He's like, I got to go to New York for a physical. It's like, wow, that's quite a job. You can't take a physical right there in Sacramento, because we were both flying out of Sacramento. It's like, well, I'm an NFL official. It's like, oh, okay. I played it cool though. I didn't say anything. I just let it, whatever. And then later we started talking. He's like, so do you like sports? I'm like, oh yeah. Been wanting to ask you some questions this whole time, but
It's like, hey, you're one of those a-holes that messes up the game.
Anyway, you got anything else for these gentlemen, Seth Dog?
Nah, man, tighten up. And not, yeah, that's you guys.
That's it. Tighten up.
Tighten up.
Oh, baby.
I for one am excited that you guys are making it back. I considered when, like going back 2-3 years ago, I considered your team to be one that was on the rise, that was going to be up there pecking at that top 3-4 spot. So I was sad that you guys couldn't make it out last year, but I'm glad you're keeping your program together and getting back out there fighting again. Looking forward to it.
Yeah,
baby.
Yeah, that's it. Tighten up. Looking forward to it. Thanks again for having us on. And
Heck yeah.
again, it's gonna be an awesome year for us as a team, and it's gonna be fun.
All right.
All
I wish
right.
you guys luck. I owe our man Frank Porter an apology, because once I start the live stream, I'm supposed to record the show in Zoom so that he doesn't have to download the video for us. But I forgot. I don't have a recording for you, Frankie. Well, he doesn't listen to this part, so I'll have to work that out with him. But appreciate you guys being with us. Appreciate anybody. Appreciate Seth for staying awake.
Yeah, man. Geez, like 11 o'clock in the morning, man.
You need that second coffee, Seth.
Yeah, you technically be the fourth cup of coffee.
I was gonna
like
say, yeah.
Another one.
Our boy Seth is an early riser, so there's no way he's only on his second cup of coffee.
I've been up since 3, so it's all good. I will go get that fourth one here soon, though.
Well, appreciate you guys. Thanks for reaching out, Zach. And thanks both you and Lamont for joining in. Look forward to following you guys. Thank you, anyone and everyone that checked it out. And we will be back in a couple weeks. Everybody be well until then.